Hello, everyone. So, a little while ago, a few days ago, a week ago, something like that, I had talked about how I wanted to do a series where I talked about books that I was rereading, mainly books that maybe I didn't love at first. Maybe, I liked the book and everything, I didn't outright hate it, but maybe there was something that kept it from being a book that I loved. Maybe I just felt a certain way about it, and now time has passed, and I'm just giving it another chance. I did say that most likely the first video would be on the book Mockingjay, because there's a lot of negative opinion about that. And when I first read the trilogy, you know, back to back and everything, I liked it in order. However, my opinion has changed. Also, however, um, this video, as you can tell from the title that I will be putting up, is not about Mockingjay. I figure since I finished this book already, that I might as well talk about it, because I want to do these videos. I want to have more book discussions, not just wrap-ups, but, talk about books and everything, which I normally do on my wrap-ups, but just wanted to kind of change things up a little bit than just basic wrap-ups all the time. I wanted to do something besides just tags and wrap-ups. A few videos I'll be redoing, some will, be expanding on, etc. So, the book I'm going to be talking about is Gathering Blue. So, I read Gathering Blue, oh, I want to say, I don't even know. It was sometime before 2010. I know that. I'm pretty sure it was before 2010. Or it was 2010. Maybe it was. I think so. But anyways, so Gathering Blue is a middle grade dystopian novel by Lois Lowry, who is the author of The Giver. And the thing is about the book is that it is a sequel that was never originally written as a sequel. So basically, to my knowledge, what had happened is that she wrote the book, and then later on she saw, or as she was writing it, I'm not sure the full details, but it was originally supposed to be a novel on its own, and she had come to realize how she could connect it to her novel, The Giver. Now, if I remember correctly, The Giver had come out in 93. Like, I was very young. I didn't read it until much, much later. But Gathering Blue did not come out until around 2000. So there's quite a gap there. A few years in between. And I think the reason that I didn't love this book at first is because maybe I tried to find too many Giver-ish things in it, because at the time I had read it, it was kind of being advertised, to, readers on like forums and this and that, people who have read it, as a companion to The Giver, which it is considered a companion to The Giver. It is considered part of what's called the Giver Quartet. However, like I said, it originally was supposed to be its own book. So you have to understand that going into it. The characters that you see in The Giver are pretty much nowhere to be found in this book. It is a completely different type of community, different set of beliefs, etc. The last two books basically connect them. You can read The Giver and Gathering Blue at different times on their own. You don't necessarily have to read The Giver first, but I would recommend to read both The Giver and Gathering Blue before you go on to the next two books. Anyways, so Gathering Blue. Gathering Blue takes place in a place called The Village. And so I guess the best way to describe it is kind of compare and contrast it to The Giver. Since I went into reading it the first time, thinking that it was going to be totally connected. So, in The Giver, they have what they call the community, and Gathering Blue, they have what is called, I think they just call it the village, if I remember correctly. I just got done reading it, but I think it was just the village. And Gathering Blue differs in the way that it handles things. It has a lot of similarities to that book, to The Giver. However, how their village or community goes about handling these things is quite different. Unlike The Giver, people are allowed to marry whomever they choose. They can see color, they can hear music, etc. However, unlike The Giver, where everything is very structured, people are assigned jobs and, given children, etc. The village is much more chaotic, much more brutal. The community of Jonas's community and The Giver is brutal in an ignorant way. They send people who make mistakes, the elderly, babies who are not thriving correctly, to elsewhere. And they see it as being released, and it's supposed to be a peaceful, merciful thing. Whereas in Gathering Blue, take the main character, Kira, for example, because she was born with a twisted leg, she was supposed to be left into the woods to die. That's what happens. People have, they produce and have their own children and everything, but much like The Giver, the undesirables are cast aside, but in a much more brutal way. There's no sugarcoating it. You are taken to the woods to die, basically. Kira's mother had fought for her daughter's right to live, and Kira is a very skilled weaver. She's very good with threads and creating an image with sewing and everything. So even though her mother has died and her cot has been burned down, because that's what they do when you die of a sickness, they burn it and they take her mother's body to the forest to basically let her die. And then Kira is spared her life by the council. Well, other different things is things like gender roles and the naming. And The Giver, everyone is pretty much equal. Even being a mother is literally a job in The Giver. Being a birth mother. there's really no such thing as a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad. Like, everything is a part of the community. Everything goes back to the community. And it's much more futuristic. Whereas in Gathering Blue, things are much more old-fashioned, even kind of straddling on, I guess you would say, the Dark Ages. Women working in weaving sheds and on spinning wheels and stuff like that, and things are very like brutal. People will step on each other, sometimes even their own family, to get ahead. There's poverty and hints of starvation, and there's slang amongst the people that are in the poorer areas, such things like that. Whereas, like I said, in The Giver, everything is pretty much considered to be equal and perfect and safe. Also, in Gathering Blue, women are not allowed to read, things like that. So, as I said, it's the same in a lot of ways, where these people live in this society where that's all they've ever known is this life. They kind of accept things as they are, but it's more out of survival. Whereas in The Giver, it was basically literally taught to them and everything. And now that time has passed and everything, like I said, I like the character of Kira a little bit more. I don't think I quite understood a lot of things when I first read it, just because I was doing a lot of comparison. I didn't like her as a character. I thought she was a weak female character. But after reading many more books and everything, I have come to realize that she is strong in her own ways. She has been put into a position where she just can't outright do this or that. But you see the growth of her. You see her behave like the age she is written, but begin to question, begin to challenge. And now I would rate the book a 5-star. I would say that if you liked The Giver, you might definitely like Gathering Blue. It's quite different, but also similar in some ways. It's a good parallel. But, anyways, that is the review. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.